Hello, everyone. Welcome on today's webinar. We have started a little bit earlier just to make sure that we can check that the platform works for everyone. I'll ask for some of my colleagues to confirm that they can hear me fine and they can see my screen. And for the others who have already joined, we will start the webinar in approximately 2-3 minutes. I get the confirmation that people hear me fine and see my screen, so this is good. If you face any difficulties, if you don't see the screen or you have other issues, please use the chat panel that is provided by our webinar platform, and we can help you to resolve your issues. Again, welcome everyone. We'll start in approximately 2 minutes. We hear that the people are still joining the session, so let's just start in 1 or 2 minutes. Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Jiří Walek. I'll be the main presenter today. Everything should be working fine now technically, so you should hear me and see my screen. We'll start in 1 minute for those who have just joined the session. One more minute to start. Okay, let's start. Welcome everyone on today's webinar, how in-application guidance provides benefits for rollouts, onboarding, training, and support. My name is Jiří Walek. I'm a Vice President of Product Management at Newired. And today, I hope that I will provide information for different personas, for different people, some that are already, let's see, briefly introduced to Newired, and also for those who have no clue about what digital adoption platform is. So I will start with a simple introduction, probably also recapitulation about what Newired is, what are the key, capabilities, etc. And then I want to dive deeper into actually why Newired and how it really helps, what it brings, how we are different to the competitors, and let's say just give you really the hands-on details that help you to decide to evaluate or roll out a digital adoption solution. First, let's say, what is a digital adoption solution, or why is that important? What is our mission? We believe, or we deeply, let's say, embrace the challenge to actually reduce or close the distance between technology, between the software and people. So we want to make sure that as in today's world, more and more people are actually using the digital tools, the way how you actually experience that will be painless and nice experience. And if you ask yourself, why is this an issue at all? Is this a problem in reality? Because many of you may have the high technical or IT background or knowledge. Yes, the data says that actually most of so-called digital transformation projects fail. By failure, it doesn't mean that the system will not work completely. It just means that what was expected as a result of the, let's say, rollout of a specific software product is usually not achieved. According to some analysts, it's actually 75% of those, let's say, requirements are not fulfilled globally. And if you ask yourself, okay, what does it really mean from the end user perspective? What is the value for the daily user actually experiencing this digital transformation? It is usually definitely related to what you see on the screen now, which is a process of onboarding on a process, on a technology, on a new tool, on a change of the configuration. So the onboarding is not only about we are rolling a new platform, new tool, but it could be also that you are changing configuration or expanding the reach, that suddenly you, let's say, support some additional use cases, some additional user scenarios. And the people need to be trained, and they forget, or better, we all forget what we have been trained on. So we need to be retrained, and then the change comes, and then comes the frustration. So you need to learn again, let's see, the standard operating procedures. And that's something that we deeply believe that this deserves, let's say, a disruption, that it deserves something that we need to approach these problems differently. By differently, I mean, it has been really proven that just reading the PDF manuals or even just watching the YouTube videos doesn't give me enough confidence that all this information will persist and I can use the product, let's say, freely and nicely. So let me just show, for those who have no clue about what Newired is, how does it look really from the end user perspective. So if we speak about disruption, we speak about new concept of onboarding and training or guidance, what does it bring? So what is this concept of learn by doing directly in your app? I'll switch into a new screen. So I'm here in a CRM system. This CRM system is probably something you haven't seen at all. And as you open the page, you see that something like this appear. What's new in 2021? What are the new CRM features, or what is new for the end user? So I can just start this so-called onboarding experience, and it will just highlight different elements on the screen. So this is the very basic and elementary approach of the onboarding. Just give some user instructions on the screen that helps people to understand what's going on in the application. By the way, this is exactly what we do. So we take any web management application, so CRM system, HR system, ALM system, your own developed application, and we let you edit these additional elements on your screen. But you know, if it would be just that you can put the panels there that just explains what is on the screen, I wouldn't call it disruption. What is more important is a concept that you disrupt the concept of train first and then use the application, because this always fails because you will always forget. They have a different concept. So instead of being trained and then using the application, I can trigger by myself a help anytime I need. So again, this is the little interface that we provide for any different web applications, where I can, for example, say how to create a new account. And in this case, I'm not being trained. I'm actually guided on top of the production system, and it really tells me the step-by-step instructions. What should I do with the system to create a new account in the CRM system? So once again, I can trigger these guides or tutorials anytime I need, in a month, in a 6 months, in a year. Anytime I actually forget, I can trigger it and I'm guided. It tells me now that I should fill in some forms, so I can actually start entering some data, maybe also the email. I'll use my Gmail. And let me just also put here the address. etc. And I click next, and I click save. So you see that I am guided through the process step by step. I can of course continue. So if I've created the contact, this on-screen instruction system, digital adoption platform, actually recommends me some of the additional steps. So I've created a new contact. Would you like to create a new opportunity? Actually, in this current moment, I don't want to create a new opportunity, so I close that. So if you go back to the slides, what happens is that instead of just being trained in the conservative, old-fashioned way, using the videos or PDFs, I'm trained in the tool, so I can trigger these guides, which first, this is much better than watching the videos because it really provides the hands-on experience. But especially anytime I forget, I can just trigger the guide, so I'm not frustrated. Or anytime there is a change, I can trigger it, and the system will automatically guide me from one place to the other. Now, the point is, in reality, if we speak about, let's say, B2B systems, so the software that works in the enterprise organizations, you don't install a tool, you install the solution that needs to be configured for your processes. The CRM system, each sales department has slightly different, let's say, funnel states or statuses, and let's see, the triggers to go from one status to the other. In the product lifecycle management tools, the workflows are different customer to customer. And we know that, and because of that, we have been, let's see, dealing from the beginning with a challenge. How can we make it possible to deliver those step-by-step tutorials for any web application, but also how can we actually build a tool, an application that will help you to actually create these guides without any coding, without heavy technical skills? So how can the content be created by the customer based on their own processes and flows and scenarios and operating procedures? For that, we have a solution that is called Newired Editor. So if you remember, last time I was showing you how the Newired overlay, so these balloons, these tutorials, actually work in my Chrome browser directly. So how can I be guided as an end user? Now the question is how easy it is to create it. And for that, we have a solution called Newired Editor. And what is the Newired Editor? Newired Editor, first, it's a browser because we are building the guides for web applications. So I need to open the same CRM system here in our Newired Editor, which is an application for Microsoft Windows, for Mac OS. But in addition to the browser, it allows me to do some more magic. And I would like to show you this magic, how easy it is to create these guides now, because it really takes us just 2 minutes to show you the key capabilities. To do so, let me just move this panel here. I want to show you how easy it is to create this journey to create a new account. So how to create a new account. So I want to actually create the same guide we have seen a minute ago on the live system. Usually you start with the introduction. So the introduction is what you will learn. So welcome. You will learn this and that. So we start with helping people to understand what they learn, or if this guide is really helping them to do what they were expecting to do in the system. Next, the first, let's say, step should be to tell people to click on this create button. So what we need to do, we actually select here that we want to add a new step, and we want to add a call out, which means a balloon that connects with this place. We want to put it here on the right side, and we want to tell the user, please click here on this create button. This is our first step. The second step should be that we want the user to click here on the create account button. So again, add a new step. I want to add a call out. I select where the user should, let's say, click or point, whatever. So I select here my create account. Of course, I can say stay here or click on create account just to make it more explicit. What's next? The next should be, oops, there was a problem not in the journey, but just here. So the next topic should be that we want user to fill in the name. So again, new call out, I select here the name, and you see the system automatically knows this is a text field. So it tells me, hey, type here. Type here is maybe not enough. Enter the contact name. Good. So that's it. And the last step should be click on the save button. Again, just click here. This is straightforward. So you see that without any coding, without any understanding about how the application is being built. So I'm not a software developer. I was able to build the guide. We can run it now. We can test it. So I can click here, click on create new account. And now it will tell me that to enter the contact name. And after I enter the contact name, the system should tell me that I should hit the save button. This is just, let's say, the high level use case to produce such a tutorials. Of course, you can build additional elements that help people to use the software in a more user-friendly way. For example, anytime I select here my email address, I can actually tell the people, this is not a work email, please try to search for a contract with a work email here. So instead of just guiding people through the process, so instead of telling the users, let's say, sequentially what they should do, we can also trigger some instructions based on the content. Another great example could be that if I fill in the address, so this is some street A, and I say that this is in the USA, the system automatically recommends me that I should fill in the state. So you see, these are all the instructions that you can implement with the Newired system really easily without any coding, with the use of so-called visibility rules for those who have been already introduced to Newired. This is just a brand new feature that we have released in the last week, the so-called content-based visibility rules. So you see that you can build, let's say, simple step-by-step instructions, or you can also build the standalone instructions based on what data have been entered into the system. So it's not just a PDF that is static, that let's say doesn't respond to the user behavior. The goal of the digital adoption platform is to provide very personalized content depending on the role, depending on the geographic location, but not just depending on the user, but also depending on the context, which the context could be on which page I am, or the context can be, let's say that I've entered some information into the system. So this has been let's see, some introduction into our Newired editor and how easy it is to actually create the journeys. And now I would like to actually dive deeper into some of the, let's say, key differentiator and what you should be aware of when selecting a digital adoption platform. The first one is the actual robustness. We speak about Newired in a way that it is simple to use, but it is also robust. But honestly, it's not really easy to describe the robustness by a nice graphics. So that's why this slide has a lot of text. Why is it so? Because it really shows what Newired is doing differently to the others. We have replaced the name of the competitor here because we don't want this to be very much offended. But in reality, if you speak about most of the digital adoption platform, actually, if you speak about 9 platforms out of 10, the comments will be always the same. We have to abandon some digital adoption platform as our platform changes so frequently that the steps get outdated and require constant review and reassessment. Or unless you are a JavaScript and CSS professional, you will probably struggle with getting the jQuery selectors right. The thing is, what is so different between the Newired and additional DAP platforms is that we have really invested a lot of time to separate the 2 different personas. A content author, which usually has really limited technical knowledge, is not a JavaScript developer, is not a CSS coder, has no clue what a CSS selector is. And then there is a technical specialist that actually should configure the digital adoption platform for a specific target application, Salesforce, Siemens Polarion, Workday, any application, Viva CRM system. But this needs to be configured so the content author doesn't need to write those JavaScript snippets, change it all the time. And that's what we have actually implemented in our solution. So anytime you roll out Newired, we help you actually to configure it for your target system. So we guarantee that your content authors, the people that are really creating the guides, will be able to author and edit the guides without any, let's say, technical knowledge. And this also means that the guides should stay or keep working as a target platform evolves. So it means that when there is a new version of a target platform, there is a new version of an application by Siemens, for example, that is being used by some medical customer. What should happen in this moment is that all these guides keeps working and they do not break. This is also done by our industry unique algorithms that makes sure that it's easy to create, but it also stays working over time. The second very important topic is about security and privacy. I was showing you today the CRM system that is not cloud-based but runs on premises. Today, of course, we live in the era that many tools are distributed as a software as a service option, but there are still some tools that are being installed on premises. Very often, if it contains some really confidential data or some data that requires the high IP protection, it must run in the VPN network, etc. And many of our customers are asking, what about the guides? Where are these tutorials being stored? How secure is it that you connect such a system to our database, to our platform? First, this is absolutely secure because we can implement the software on your premises, so it can be installed on your infrastructure, or you can use our cloud. But anyway, we have an option that runs fully on your premises. Second, even if you decide to use it in our cloud, we have an option to deploy it in a way that no, and I'm saying really no data will be sent from the end user to our server. So this will be just one-way communication that ensures that no data are being transmitted into our systems. And for the analytics, if you decide optionally to enable the analytics, so you want to anyway store some information about what are the user doing, we collect only non-personal data. So you can be sure that if you enable the analytics, no personal or confidential data are being stored in our systems. Again, this is very critical for our enterprise customers. Third topic, control the content publishing. So, you know, we have been seeing so far two different interfaces. We have seen the interface, how the Newired look from the end user perspective. So you can click on these instructions, click here, do this, do that. Then we have seen the Newired editor, how easy it is to create the guides. But we have not been speaking about how does it happen that these guides actually appear on the end user screen, or what should happen to make sure that the content is reviewed, tested, and potentially also approved. Because you produce content with Newired, and if we speak about the business applications, the content usually needs to be reviewed, approved, and tested. And in some industries, this is even controlled by some regulations. We have really more than 50 years of collective experience in Newired, what it means to work in the aerospace, automotive, or medical markets. So in the markets that require some level of controls, usually it involves some level of functional safety. So depending on what are your instructions about, you may need a different level of control, different level of so-called publishing workflows to ensure that the content is well tested before it goes live. And I just want to give you a little bit again of a demo. What does it really look from the let's see, from the product perspective? So you remember that we have created here a journey. This was this journey. The journey is how we call a tutorial. So you remember that we have created here in our editor the journey that has this welcome panel, and then it tells me click here and click there. And we have created it, but we haven't tested it yet. Actually, if you would go now into the live product, if you will go to our CRM system and we refresh the screen, we will not find our brand new journey in the list. So we will not see the actual journey in our list, because this is the old one and the new one is not yet there. So what's the process of making this journey actually visible to the end users, so it is tested, reviewed, etc.? First, of course, I may wish to just share it with others. You see that it is easy to trigger it in our system, but sometimes the journey can be complex, and what you want to do is really just to present it quickly to your manager or to anyone. So you can actually preview the journey automatically using our slideshow system. So I can quickly go through journeys and review it with my colleagues, whether this is really well defined. Actually, you see here that this one was not properly taken as a screenshot, so anytime we can actually recreate the screenshot by manual control, so we can actually retake it, and from now on the screenshot will be added. So I can actually review the journey directly in the system. But more importantly is that we have a component for the testers, reviewers, and managers, which is called Newired Portal. So the portal is an administration system that shows me or expose the process of deploying the journeys into production. You see that there are 7 changes pending. So we were doing something in the editor, and these changes are not yet live. They are not yet published. So I can submit a new version 110. You see that some journeys have been modified. One of that was removed. And this, how to create a new account. This is our new journey probably. No, actually, I forget about it, that I need to first, in this system, I need to activate it. So I'll activate my journey. I say I'm finished from the editor perspective. And now the manager knows that there is new content. You will see that there is actually 8 items available, and I submit it for review. So this is our webinar test, and I submit it for the review. Actually, what happens now is that it creates the version 110, which is not yet visible to the end users. As a tester, I can actually preview it. So if I'm a tester, I can now open, let's say, my CRM application, and now I actually see all the changes that we have done in the editor. I see here my journey that we have created a couple of, let's say, minutes ago on the live system in my browser as a tester only. I can actually even take it and export it to Microsoft document, which actually will contain the instructions how to test it and how to approve the content. So this now generates the hands-on instructions for reviewers or approvals. If you scroll this document, we see that for every step there is a let's say a definition of the step and a screenshot. So this document now contains the instructions for all the people that need to review it. Is it working properly in my live system? Yes, no. This can be also electronically signed depending on your workflow. And when you are done, you actually mark this as a live version. So from now on, we have published the version 1.10 to all the people that are actually accessing this CRM system. So what it brings, what value it provides? It means that the system to create the journeys is designed for non-technical people, so you can create these guides easily without any coding. But there is still a management platform that helps you to review and test everything, that everything works correctly before you go live. So we know that the quality is the #1 objective when speaking about the content. Good. Multi-application support. This is also something that not every digital adoption platform supports, and we consider this as a critical capability. What is multi-application about? You need to understand that when speaking about the digital adoption processes, you don't want people to actually being trained on a tool, but you want them to succeed on a particular use case. And the use case may or may not involve multiple applications. What it means, I can have a use case that I should actually open my CRM system and create an order there, and then I need to go to the ERP or warehouse application to let's say pre-book the stuff in this ERP warehouse application, and then I need to go back into the CRM system to finish or update the dashboard that everything is processed well, both in the CRM and ERP. So in reality, today to perform a particular procedure, I usually work with more than just one application, and because of that, the actual guide, the actual tutorial should guide the people from one application to the other, and should not actually, so you are not trained on the app, but you are trained on a tool chain. Multi-language support. So we are speaking about multiple applications or multiple tools, a tool chain. Now we speak about different languages. This is really a no-brainer, but again, something that we see that it's also not well managed in many other competing DAP platforms. When you speak about multiple languages, there are two parallel use cases. One use case is that you would like your callouts, your instructions to be translated in multiple languages. The second one is about maybe your application speaks a different language, let's say from one user to the other, and you want to have one callout or one, let's say, a dialogue that points to this place here, no matter what is the name in the different languages. So you want to have a guide that is translated into multiple languages, but also you want the guide to connect to the application that is different in different languages. And we approach this in a very unique way. So again, because this is about translation, this is not about process of creating new journeys, we control the process of translations from our management platform called Portal. In the translation environment, I can set up any number of translations. And you can use the industry standard tools that many of them today involve the popular, let's say, machine learning concepts that the translation can be performed automatically, or it can be managed manually depending on your preference, because maybe you want to keep the same vocabulary over multiple tools, which this is something that usually today is being managed only by the real translators. How it works is that I set up a translation language, a target language. I download the translation file. This file is something that I send to my translation department or to my colleague or to an outsourcing company. And what it contains the actual content only in the industry standard format. The industry standard format can be opened by the industry standard tools to perform a translation. So I just now will translate something into Spanish. I'm using the free version, so this is not, let's say, something very advanced, but you can imagine that I perform my translation in my industry standard tool. Then I upload my translation back into the system, and that's all. So it means that the translators, the people that actually translate the content from your source language to the other, doesn't need to be trained on Newired, because they keep using the industry standard tools. And the same apply also for the application translation. So in case your target application speaks a different language and you want, for example, let's say a tip connected to this save button, but the save is translated differently in the different languages, then you need to tell the Newired what is the translation. And just by providing this translation package, the journeys will connect well to the elements on the screen. So the translation process is fully separated from the process of creating the journeys, and it helps you to support your global, let's say, organization, no matter how many departments you have distributed all around the world. All of that with a transparent, easy to try and fair pricing model. Actually, we are one of the only DAP platforms with a transparent pricing that is available on our website. And actually, if you compare us to the competitors, actually our pricing is much more competitive comparing to the others. Last but not least, we also provide the so-called OEM licensing model, where the OEM licensing is really something that means that we are, as a solution, we target both. We target the customers that are using the software tools like Salesforce, Workday, whatever, or we also target the software vendors, Sinertrade, Siemens, and many others. This requires a slightly different licensing model. So depending on who you are, if you are a software user or you are a software vendor, we have a different option built directly for your case. What it brings at the end, we have measured that we really can save a lot of time connected with training. This, of course, translates into reduction of the cost. How we do it? Because the training can be done just one. We have customers who completely abandon the repetitive training. So in the past, they were having the let's see, the real tutor-led trainings every quarter, every 6 months. Now they fully automated with these online tutorials. The other benefit also is that the people, as they are, let's see, not frustrated, they stay trained all the time, they tend to use the software more often. Actually, we have measured that on one system, it was 20% more interactions with the target application within the 6 months. And this was actually after the team has been using the product for more than 2 years. So this was not just, let's say, the onboarding in traditional sense. This was really, we have been using Newired to help existing users using the software more effectively and making them feel better. And actually, we we help the customer to keep using the software, because without Newired, they would probably abandon that and the investment will be gone. And I've been also showing you all these tips. So the tips are not just the, let's say, the tutorials, like step-by-step instructions, but you remember that we can also produce the tips that can pop up automatically based on some conditions. And these tips can point to existing articles, to the videos, to some online knowledge base. And just by the fact that you link these external assets, these assets become more visible to the end users, so the people don't need to search for it, and they access it online just via our instructions. So to finish, we have a solution called Newired Journeys that provides user guidance and onboarding that just works. Who should definitely, let's say, decide for Newired are the customers who are looking for easy to use digital adoption platform that helps you to create the journeys without being a developer, without a significant time invested into training of the digital adoption platform itself. Price sensitive customers that look for really transparent and predictable pricing model. Those that you want to evaluate the product immediately because you can download it today and test it. And last but not least, also those who have a need for a very flexible deployment schema. I mean, on-premise, in the cloud, with your tool, in the VPN, outside of the VPN. We really provide a variety of multiple options to deploy the product in your infrastructure. That's what we want to present today. Thank you very much for your time. We have a couple of minutes for Q&A, so I'll open the Q&A panel of GoToMeeting and I'll try to actually answer some of your questions. Let me just see here. It's a German question. Ask about how do I integrate a Newired with my application? It's a bit technical question, but easy to answer. The integration is doesn't involve any IT, or better, it's not a server-side integration. So in reality, if we speak about integrating Newired with a target platform, this process speaks about how does it happen that over my system, these guides, these bubbles, these overlays appear. So how do I achieve the situation that this is actually being installed into my application? That's what we call integration. How this happens, there are two options. Either you deploy a small JavaScript on your target application, so we provide a little snippet. This snippet needs to be supported by the target platform, or you can inject it into the target platform, and this ensures that the guide becomes visible on every user screen. Or if the target platform doesn't support the customizability with the JavaScript snippets, we also provide a browser extension. The browser extension is something that you install into the browser, and this makes the actual extension visible to all, or the content visible to all the users. So to properly finish with my answer, it doesn't require any server-side installation of Newired next to your target application. All what you need is either to deploy a little JavaScript snippet or actually install the JavaScript or the browser add-on into your browser. me see the other questions. What target languages do you support? Actually, all of you can actually go to the to our support portal, which lives on the URL support.newired.com. And I'm sure if I search for languages, available languages for journeys and tips, here we have the list of all the languages that are supported. Actually, we support almost any language. If anything is missing, let us know. The simple answer is we support any type of the localization or language. What else we have here? Let me see the chat. Questions here. Do you support single page applications? This is a good question. This is also one of the big differentiator to some other competitor. Maybe you have been already using some of the other digital adoption platforms. The single page application, I can actually have here one. This is by chance because I was expecting to also show a bit of this, is the application that always actually has the same URL. And then let's say when you are navigating, usually just a part of the URL after this hash symbol is changing. So more or less what it means is that many of the digital adoption platform struggle with applications that do not change the real URL, or better, that doesn't send the request to the server. Or it can also be visible on the applications. If I log in here, that has the content dynamically appearing without changing the URL. So for example, here, I can probably open, if I remember this application correctly, I can open some panel on the screen, or let's go to planning. So I can open different components without changing the URL. And the digital adoption platforms should react to such a change of the application and show a tip, start the journey, react simply to it. I told you that the journeys should not be static and the same for all the users, but they should really respond to the user behavior. So the client is asking if we support apps that change the content without changing the URL. That's how I understand the question. Please let me know if I misunderstood your question. And the answer is yes. We don't depend on the URL changes or on the events that the browser will trigger. We actively monitor the changes on the screen and we react to it, again, with some industry unique algorithms. Actually, we have time for one additional question, so let me just have one more, and the rest we would need to answer probably via email. Can I create a different tutorials for power users and newbies? That's a so-called segmentation, which means that you may wish to actually have a different content depending on different roles, different maturity, maybe different language, different department. And how we handle that? We handle that with so-called visibility rules. So first, it doesn't need to be only a different guide for different people, but you may have a guide that contains steps, and some of the steps may be visible only for some roles, and maybe the advanced users should fill in something more, and the less powerful users can do just less of the steps, or the other way around. You want to provide more instructions for newbies and less instructions for the power users, or maybe no instructions for the power users. We handle that with so-called visibility rules. The visibility rules are defined by different conditions. If you are speaking about the power users versus normal users or different roles in the target application, for that we have a support for so-called custom property rules. This is something that also is a new feature recently released, that this will help us to actually integrate better with your system and actually read the user role from your target platform. Or better, there are two options how to handle it. Either the user interface is different for the power user and normal user, then I would probably use the element rule. If the user interface is the same, so it's like invisible to the end users, but the journeys should still be different, I would use the custom property rule. So yes, we have a support for presenting different content for different contexts, user context, page context, whatever, based on the visibility rules. And by the way, and I can finish with that, because we have the same on the step level, so we have also the visibility rules on the step level, which the visibility rule is something like an if statement, and we also have actions where the action, one of the action is the jump to a step. Because we have jumped to a step, we have a go-to statement, and the technical people know that if you have the if statements and you have the go-to statements, you can actually let's say implement any type of logic, because you have more or less the foundation of the programming language. So if you really need to build a powerful behaviorally driven journeys, we can handle it via the combination of visibility rules and actions. That's all what we want to present today. Thank you very much for your time. If there are any more questions, let us know. And if you want, we can definitely set up the evaluation server for you, so you can dive deep and evaluate Newired on top of your application by yourself or with our help. Thank you very much. Have a great day.